Well, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. A little bit bleary-eyed, a little bit um, sort of energetically all over the place, and there's a mixture of reasons why all of that's happened, but essentially upright and breathing. So whatever comes in today will come in, and we will work our way through it as we tend to do in our own unique style.
Well, you had a very exciting weekend. I can see all of our friends, all of our tribe is they're all coming in right now. But you had a pretty involved weekend. I did not. I had family here, and I was, oh, good morning, Gemma. I'm still focusing on getting Raven. Well, Raven is doing much better. I think she must have tweaked something in her back or in her hip, and that was really bothering her. But then we gave her the doggy aspirin, and that really bothered her. And she seems like she's feeling a little bit better. I still don't want her jumping up and down off the furniture or anything like that. No chasing rabbits in the yard or anything. But she seems like she's doing a lot better. So hopefully today will be a much, much improved day. Um, so we've got Miss, does that say Miss
Libra.
Libra? Okay, I was like,
I think it does. My eyes are a bit misty this morning.
it?
I know who it is. I know it. I know who it is. I know her personally. So whatever it's down as, I know her as something different anyway.
So while I had a very practical boots on the ground recovering from earthquake week, you had a super spiritual week. And today we're going to be talking about abundance. And I think it's really cool that you had a super abundant weekend with clients, correct?
Yeah, it was. So this event that I went to at the weekend, it took me 3 years to get in. So I'd got two alternatives. So one of the promoters that I worked with was up in Newcastle, which is a long way from my house where I live in sort of Midlands area, if you know this country. And it would have been a long drive up there. So part of my heart was up there because I wish everybody that's working in a spiritual manner success and abundance and things like that. But practically, I was in this event that I took 3 years to get on. Early on, I was told that I wouldn't be doing a demonstration this year. So it was all about focusing on individual clients. I've had a complete change around in my setup with my banners, my tablecloth, the whole thing that I'm working on, because my guides have changed and things like that. And then you just put yourself out there and send your energy out into the universe. And much as we're going to talk about there is you start to manifest and you get the results from the work and the energy that you've put out there. And I've got to be truthful here that it was nothing short of incredible. The diversity and the range of people that came to me. There was no time for me to sit there and think about what I was going to give. It just flowed. And that for me is the secret to being a good medium, is that if you realize that you are a conduit for energy rather than thinking you're the I am, because the client will decide what they need from that interaction. And they just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. The only fly in the ointment, funnily enough, was me, because my timing Saturday was appalling. I had to cancel a section out in the end and apologize profusely because I got that involved in it. And the power that we was accessing between us where we were working with clients was just off the charts. But you're in an environment where you've got half an hour per client. And I could have sat there for 3 hours with some of the wonderful people that I've met. Went there Sunday and did it all again. And it was, so as I've got up this morning, I tend to take this day off. I've learned this now, that if I've had an intense weekend, is to take time off and just recover. Don't do anything. Don't do any thinking, planning, taking any spiritual downloads or anything like that.
I think that's a good idea. One of the things I've been doing, and it started out with a practical I have house slippers. My husband's Japanese, so I when we moved in here, I wanted to do no shoes in the house, but that doesn't go really fast with or really well with American kids. But I have these slippers, and they're not that beat up, but they're not really great for my feet. So somebody said, "Oh, you need more grounding. You should be going barefoot anyway." And I started going barefoot, and it really is helping, I think, a little bit to kind of lower me down. So maybe that's something, if you're like vibing all the way up here, maybe you need to go a little bit barefoot and come down a little bit.
Well, we'll be in the
Um,
garden later, so that will definitely be the case. Just
Perfect.
sit there with a cup of
Hands and
tea.
feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I set up this schedule, I'd run a few things through AI and said, what should Rick and I do for the 6 weeks? Like that'll be hot topics and interest to everybody. I see Grumpy got here too. Good morning, Grumpy. I have to
Morning,
look up
guys.
what time the eclipse is. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what time we can go out and look. I do have the eclipse glasses, but so abundance was one of the things that came up. And I know for me, my clients are somewhat different from yours, Rick. My clients usually want to know more terrestrial stuff. They don't want to really get into like crazy stuff. Excuse me. Um, I do have, clients that are interested in past lives and how they're affecting this life, but allergies.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
So sorry. So abundance is not the abundance of money and things in our life, but it's the abundance of good things in our life. And I'm going to mute myself for a second because I'm going to keep coughing. I'm going to let you take it over for a sec.
So we've got this connection, me and Annabelle, with how we work. So abundance is not always the thing, and having that next pile of money. I can sum up how it was described to me, and I've not been reading even a percentage of the time that Annabelle's been reading. So my teachings were very basic. I like to keep things very simplistic when I'm working with tarot, so that I can remember it all basically, because my head is 100 mile an hour all of the time, and I find it exhausting. So the thing that recognizes abundance for me in tarot is the suit with pentacles. So I got into the habit of, right, so pentacles for me is like running this thesaurus of words through. So pentacles, money, finances, riches, enrichment. So I went off that. And then I was listening to another reader who works in a darker style than what I do and is even blunter than me. And I heard him say this phrase that is now stuck with me. It's only recent, but it's one that I've kind of stolen. But I've told him I've stolen it because I think it's a great way of describing about abundance, is non-material wealth. So I let those words play through my head, non-material wealth. That led me to an investment. So if you think about that, you've got money, you've got somewhere, so you're going to invest it in somewhere. And the idea behind an investment is a return. So non-material wealth is something that you invest your time, your money, your energy. And what you invest in, the return that you will get from it is where your focus is. So much like the Hutches talk about what you focus on is what will grow. This is pretty much the same with abundance. So if you're in this state of lack or loss, then you will get more opportunities to look at lack or loss, because that is kind of what you've agreed that you're going to, what road or alleyway that you're going to go down. So non-material wealth is an investiture of your life's hours, and your life's hours are key because once you've spent them, you can't get them back. So that's my idea of manifesting what I've got. Because I mean, to be truthful, I've never had money, so I don't have money issues because I've never had any. So I just flow with what I've got. We all have those bills to pay, so we go out and do whatever it is that we do, and I've been content in that. But what I've learned over the last sort of 7 to 10 years of doing this is we can manifest lots of other things that benefit us in ways that just literal money and finances and things and material, they don't give us that, like that lovely feeling. So I've learned from my wife that, like, okay, just because I've got this pretty bit of crystal in me that might have cost money, it's not going to give me as huge a benefit as sitting out in the garden and going barefooted and just absorbing life's soul. So we can, whether we believe it or not, manifest the life that we want. And my work is all about saying to people, right, I will listen to your story. You tell me your story. And everybody's got a reason or an idea why they can't do. Yeah, well, I've got this and I've got this to do and I've got that to do. And I go, yeah, okay, I'll take that on board. I'm happy with that. But what can you do with those limitations as well as? So this is where we start laying down that path of manifesting that abundance, because abundance comes in many forms. And am I going on too long? Is Annabelle back? Has she
No,
got
no, not at all. I'm right here. I'm just pouring myself another cup of tea.
right?
You just can't see me. I went invisible for a second.
Is
Um,
am I on the right? Am I on the right sort of lines? That is this?
Absolutely,
I don't want to go
absolutely.
off. I
Because
don't want to go off too far down a rabbit hole, because, as I was saying, after the weekend, I've been down so many rabbit holes. I'm not quite back yet,
no,
so I'm still vibing quite high.
listen, Rick, we love your rabbit holes. That sounds naughty, but no, this program, I'm sorry, that was my elbow. What we want to do is we want to open up those rabbit holes for people. We want people to um be able to see more possibility. That's me as a psychic. That is something that I'm doing for people, practically for all their terrestrial stuff. Like, I'm opening up possibilities for them. So to unlock possibility for an abundant life, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. I manifested this house, and how I did that. Greg and I were Greg had a smaller bachelor home that he bought, and I was in a condo that was rented by the sea after Hurricane Sandy. And we looked for a house to move in together for, it was 9 or 10 months. It was such a long time. There was just no inventory out there. Nothing was appropriate. The agent that we were working with started to show us these 5,000 square foot homes they were mansions. They were approaching $1 million. And we were like, we're regular people. Like, we're not buying $1 million home. Sorry. And she's like, oh, it's only 700,000. We were like, yeah, we're not buying that. So I was just laser focused on finding us a home. And I did a manifestation board. And lo and behold, this house came up for sale, by owner. And then it went on the market, and it took us a while to get into it, but we fought for it. There's a lot of effort put into this house, but I kept manifesting this house the whole time. And it really was a work of spiritual and terrestrial to get us in here. It really was a lot of work. But I wasn't going to settle. There were certain things that we both wanted. There was a pool and garage. Those were on our list, and Greg and I didn't do those. And we were like, we can always add those. We can always add those later. It's not a big deal. Um, you know, those are things that can be done. Those are the touches that we can do. But the mental process and the mental focus of, yes, we are going to be in a house where we're all going to fit, where the dog is going to have places to run, where we're not going to have neighbors breathing down our neck. It really was a constant daily thought, and a very positive thought at that. And I think that really is the key to abundance. We need to be extremely focused on, this is coming. I deserve it. It's going to be here. I just have to wait for the universe to put the pieces of the puzzle in place. We don't have to go out and sacrifice different things in our lives. And it's really the mental focus and the visualization. So um, uh, you know, for me, part of that, the abundance of a home, a physical thing, a pentacle here, if you will, was the sense of family. And on my desk downstairs, I do have the manifestation board that I created for me and the kids when we were looking for a house after Sandy. That was, we were looking for a place to live, and I was like, I have to find one. There were no houses, there were no rentals after Hurricane Sandy. Everybody was out of their house. And I think we found the last rental in New Jersey when that happened. But I did a manifestation board. So, Rick, maybe we'll do a class on, we'll do one of these Vibe with the Tribe manifestation boards. Maybe we'll do that one day. Because they're really fun. It's like arts and craft project. Basically, what I did, I bought a 10 pack of canvases from the local craft store. They were like, I don't know, $5, $10, something like that. And we had paint and we had glitter and we had all these little doodads and buttons and stickers, and so we just put together this really cool manifestation board. And I was managing an insurance brokerage, and so I brought that in and I had it on my wall right in front of me. Every phone call I made, everything I did, that was in my face. This was my goal. I kept it in front of me. And you can do that. That's one way you can do it. Some people want to be real practical. They can write their manifestations on post-its and stick it on their mirror. You don't have to make a gingerbread house or a sugar cube castle or anything like that. You can do it very, very easily and just write it down. Easiest thing for anybody to do is to have a gratitude journal. It can be just a blank. It doesn't have to be a pre-printed one. It could be just a straight regular notebook, and you just say, this is my gratitude journal. And at the beginning of the day, write down what you want your day to look like. What do you want it to look like? What is your focus? So if your focus is like, for Rick and I, like if our focus is we're going to do 10 readings this week, I am going to lock down 10 readings this week. If it's to secure 2 new clients that need help, I'm going to secure a client that needs help. I'm going to, create a relationship with them. Um, what else? If it's, I'm going to get my garage cleaned out this week. Like that's like a reverse abundance. I'm going to clean out my garage. You could write that down, and then at the end of the day, and this is something that I think is really important. You write down your wins for the day. Like Mel from the Fitness Hutch reminds me of this all the time. She says you have to write your wins down. So some days your win might be I shaved my legs today. Your win might be I got to go for a walk with the dog for an hour. I carved out an hour of time. I defragged my computer. It may be that simple, but it's so important because what it does is it sets the tone before you close out your day of these are good things. You're not sitting there wringing your hands thinking about all the things that you didn't do. And I very rarely, I do reference my former job in corporate, but I don't reference some of the more troubling points. It was very difficult. I was very good at what I did when I was a broker. However, as most people know, when you're good in corporate, that means that they just give you more of your work and they really don't reward you or pat you on the back. They just keep giving you more because you're really good at this. Can you fix this? And I am in particular very good at fixing things. So when I was given my book of business, it was performing very poorly. It was retaining very poorly, and so I fixed that. Um, but the abundance of work that they gave me was an abundance of clients. It was a lot. And I really started to lose my footing because at the end of every day, I would make about 80, 90 phone calls a day. And I would process probably approximately about 1,000 emails a week. And so at the end of the day, some days I couldn't finish and I would be wringing my hands because I would have to log off and not be able to finish my work. So it was too much abundance, and I got into this very frantic kind of thinking. When you think more in terms of I accomplished this, this is great. You get that bloom, you get that sense of accomplishment, that good feeling, that serotonin hit. You is serotonin? Yeah, dopamine? What is it we get? It's dopamine that we get, right? When we do something good.
Bit of
I think
both,
that's
I think.
yeah, so we need Mel. We need Mel to tell us. She would know. So when you do that in your gratitude journal or your notebook or on your post-its, you pave the way and you create the baseline of excitement and happiness, this mellow excitement. But you do start to pave the way for that. So it makes it much, much easier for the universe to say, okay, well, this is what they like. This is what we need. So um, gratitude for the things that we have is absolutely a component of this as well. We need to say, thank you, universe. Yes, please, more. I say please more all the time to the universe, when things are going great, when things are going smoothly, when my family is getting along, when the dog is not banged up, I say, oh yes, please, more of this, more of this. So we want to have abundance in physical, quantifiable terms, money, house, car, those kinds of things. But we also want to have abundance in our sense of love and our sense of contentment and the connections that we make. Like one of the things that I wanted to do last year into this year was to connect with a bunch of psychics. And boy, did I ever. I found this really amazing group of people. We put together a show on Thursday. We have our show this Thursday, don't
Yeah.
forget. So we have the psychic news universe, and Thursday 1 p.m. New York time will be on. So we'll see all you guys there. But I really wanted to have because in spiritual life, sometimes you meet people that are just a little far out there. Like I'm sure, like to a lot of like normal people, I'm really far out there. I know all my people back in corporate. They're like, oh my God, did she really quit to become a psychic? Like they're all weirded out by that. But surprise, I always was one. I really just wanted a group of people that were very similar to me, and I found that. Like I just miraculously found it. Like Rick is not like a hippy dippy psychic. He's not out there doing weird stuff. He's not running around with feathers and freaking out in his backyard. A Terra Destiny, Deb, like and Thor. Oh my God, I love Thor. Alicia Wicker is very much like me, and I just asked the universe for that. I said, can I get some psychic friends so that I have people that I can bounce ideas off of, and they're not judging me. We have an organization here that I tried to tap into, and it's like a university. They have online classes, they have in-person classes, and I tried to connect with them, and I don't know if they're just too much older than me. They're kind of like my parents' age, I guess. And they do have classes. They don't pay their instructors, and I was like, oh, I would love to go and do this. So I sent them an email. They don't have someone who's actively teaching tarot, and as far as I could tell. And so I sent them an email. They never responded to me, and I was like, oh, okay. So maybe that's just not where I was supposed to be. So I just saw this interesting question, because Primus said, "Is there a desire for too much abundance? When do we stop?" And then Chaley said, "It's yes, it's called greed." So yes, I think that there's. greed is very different from abundance. So abundance is when we have plenty and we can also extend it to others. So Rick had a massive, massive weekend with all of his readings. He had a massive weekend. What's going to happen if Rick can't do all of that? Say people want to get readings from him over the next few days, say this abundance continues, the universe keeps handing it to him, he has the option to kind of space that out, and also to use the connection that universe is giving him, because right now his doors are blown right open, like his spiritual doors are open, and so he can use that connection to better himself, to make himself a better psychic counselor, to make himself a better spiritual guide for people, and to take all those lessons. So it doesn't necessarily, the universe is putting all of these people in front of Rick so that he can help them, but it's also opened up the doors so that the universe can train him to be a better guide. Does that, am I speaking out of turn for you, Rick?
No, no, that's absolutely spot on. I mean, I don't know whether it's an irritation with me at the moment. As we were talking about, I had a very clear message that you and me need to develop something, and we don't even need to talk about finances. This is purely about working with the energy that was provided this morning and helping people out there that are struggling. Obviously, everything, and I mean literally everything, has got a price. So when I was doing counselling with people yesterday, saying to them that, right, you've got options and we've got choices. And it's down to whether you can afford to pay the price tag. And I'll illustrate exactly what I mean with that. Like there's somebody that knew that their abundance, if you imagine it, was on the other side of a bridge. But that bridge had got slight blockages there. Now, you've got to want something more than what your problems is or whatever it is that your blockage is. And I said to this person, right, let's be realistic here. That is within reach, but the price of having that means that you will lose XYZ person in your life because they're no longer in alignment with your path. Are you prepared to pay that price? And she said, yes. Right, you've got some tough work to do. So when we talk about abundance and bringing in and manifesting that better life, there's a price to pay for it. The thing is, and I think, and I'm not having a go at any psychics that work, because obviously it's my full-time profession. I need to pay my bills and work. And I'm answering this question directly. There comes a point where I think some certain people, and I'm not naming anybody, this is a very much a generalized comment, that forget what they're in it for. As soon as you get to that point of, darling, look at me, you need to see and, take on board everything that I'm saying because I'm wonderful, and you need to flock to me. You've gone outside of being a spiritual worker. You're into that role of being a guru or standing up there. It's almost cultish. And I find it frustrating because I am always at the coalface when I'm working with people. I get my abundance from seeing people walk away with a little bit more upliftment, a little bit more knowledge, a seed planted and things like that. And this is where you start to look out for the signs and synchronicities of life. So yesterday I sat with a client, absolutely beautiful energy, so patient, so calm. We tapped into one or two things that weren't like major things, but they still needed shifting. And I'm going, in my head, I'm going, I hope I'm doing the right thing. I hope I'm giving her enough. I hope I'm doing it. And at the end, CD player, because this is what I'm still recording on at the moment, press stop. Any questions for me before you go? She said, I want to tell you something. She said, I am not at the moment psychically connected. And I went, well, I'll hold my tongue here because I disagree, but I'll hold my tongue and let you have your moment in the spotlight. She said, I would have paid you money to just sit in your energy and listen to you talk, because your voice has got this resonance. It's beautiful. I felt safe. I felt guided. I felt protected. I won on two different fronts there because I got paid for my time and then got paid that most beautiful compliment there.
Yeah.
And I think it comes to the point where we're talking there about material stuff, that once you start to forget what you're in it for, once you start to dismiss little comments like that as, yeah, okay, thank you, you're entitled to your opinion, that's where you've lost it. And that is where you need to get to that point of going, right, I'm trying to manifest something just to placate my ego, right? I can say this without fear of contradiction, that if we get and we look back on this moment now, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line, and let's just say I become a success. I've probably left it a little bit late in life to have that corporate success, but that's not my role in my life. But I can truthfully say that my approach won't change one iota. I could have had one client or 100 clients in a week, because what I care about, and I've said this in front of so many people, that I care about the bum that sits on the seat. So the bum sits down on the seat, and then we get into that energy space and we work with the client. And when I say bum, I don't mean American bum as in somebody on the street. I'm talking about the bottom, the posterior, the backside, sat down on that seat, and it's the energy that I care about. My abundance in that sense is just knowing that I've provided the service, I've provided the connection. So I don't, like I said to you earlier on, I don't worry about money because I've never had any. So money for me, it flows in and out of my life. Sometimes there's enough, and sometimes I wish that there was more. But I always seem to be in the right space to get through. And I sat there with deep concern a couple of months back that it had gone very, very quiet. I'm not very good at meditation in the sense of because of the PTSD issues and things like that. I have to ration it down to what I can feel comfortable with. So for 15 minutes, I sat there and I said to Spirit, I'm a little bit concerned about money and finances and things like that. And they went, right, your job will never pay off in a conventional sense, but there will always be enough. And don't worry about clients and things like that, because they will find you, because we will send them to you. And lo and behold, yes. And they always also say, but also consider the purging aspect of what we're going through at the moment as a human race, the old dark energies that we're clearing as we move from 3D to 5D, that there's that element of needing to cut cords with our attachment to the predictable, mundane life. So you'll have one foot in the 5D, which is more about advanced energy and more about the vibrational raising and the frequencies. And I'm kind of like burbling here because I haven't got a full connection with it. But what I understand that my guides are showing me is we have to cut our attachment to this 3D type of world of everything needs a reason, everything needs an answer, everything needs to have a quantifiable thing put on it, everything needs a price. We need all of this money coming in. Right. We don't. Right. You will be provided for, but it's like getting your house ready for guests. You know, that there'll be certain people, we've got diets to cater for, we've got this, we've got that and the other. You've got a choice of who you let into your castle, for want of a better word. So when we manifest there, if we're manifesting just for ourselves, we're not going to get the right guests that are going to come to our house. So that, yes, I do agree to a certain point, there's a limit. And I agree with the comment about greed, but I also agree, and I want to bring that out there, that how much is enough to each individual. And I always look at it this way. I put out my intent to the universe. Yes, I would like to be well off, comfortable. But what is comfortable? So when I ask for the comfort and I put out my manifestation, I say being at a level that I want to be at personally, but not at the expense of somebody else. So I always agree. I always understand that our life's hours have got a price. That price is dictated to by yourself. So what you value your life's hours at. So I've had clients that have come past me, or potential clients that have come past my store and gone, you're too expensive. Right? That's too much money. Okay, I'm not your reader then. Because I alone, not spirit led, not anything else led, have decided that my life's half hour is that price. Right? If you come at me in a different way where you say, can I just have a word, and you don't make a big song and dance about it and say, I'm struggling for money or I can't afford that price, I'm more than happy to negotiate with people. However, when I'm at a show where I've got expenses and I've got bills to pay, that is my price. If you choose to sit with me, I am beyond honoured. If you don't, I don't have an issue with that. And this is where I separate the ego. So it's not about how much I can amass, it's how much sometimes that I need to make. And then everything else. So like this weekend has been very abundant. I have now been given the flexibility, and I am going to do this over the next 2 days because I have been negligent of my own self needs. And what I mean by that, it's not my ego, it's that I have not shut down correctly for the last 2 weeks. So if I was teaching somebody there as what they might experience as they go through their own spiritual journey, is that you can go into a place of burnout if you don't look after yourself correctly. So
Absolutely.
I'm now in that space where I've earned enough where I can go, do you know what? I just need to focus on me for a couple of days. And Spirit, the universe, have given me that abundance. I've manifested that abundance, but there's a price to pay for that abundance. And I'm approaching burnout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, thank you for that abundance, being in that space of gratitude, as Annabelle mentioned earlier. And I'm going to take 2 days out where I'm going to do absolutely nothing. I'm going to let Spirit spin round me as they tend to do, but I'm not going to journal. I'm not going to diary. I am just going to be in a state of gratitude and in a state of just flow. So not overthinking, not overanalyzing, not plotting, planning, or anything like that. I'm just going to have a couple of days out. Maybe it might even be a day, depends on what happens with a couple of other things. But I'm going to have a couple of days out of the system, and because I'm in gratitude because I've been allowed to do that. And the thing is that I want to address people's comments on there is, right, no guilt. Right? If that's what you need as an individual, and you've got the opportunity that you all of a sudden you've had this pile of abundance that gives you that flexibility to take time out, say thank you. Right? There's nothing to feel bad about. It is not a bad thing to want money. For me, it is a bad thing to want things that are at the expense of somebody else's feelings, somebody else's emotions, riding roughshod over the top of them. Because what you will also manifest, or have got the capability to manifest, is the negative aspects of your life. Because I'm a great believer that what you invest is what comes back to you, because the universe itself can only mirror and reflect back what you send out to it. So when you're manifesting, be very, very specific in what you're ordering. I always
Yes.
talk about Amazon.spirit. That's my little story. Amazon.spirit are sat
I
up
love
there
it.
waiting to receive your order. So imagine this. The only thing that I will truthfully spend money on is trainers, right? Or sneakers, as you might call them in America. And the thing is, because I didn't have the benefit of having decent trainers when I was a kid, I've got poorly feet. I've got poor feet in one or two different things there. So when I got in the position as an adult where I could pick and choose what with a budget of what I wanted to buy, I go for the brand. I like the tick because they're comfortable and they suit my needs. So I have no guilt about ordering trainers. So I'll say to the spirit world, I want a pair of trainers. And I put the order out to Amazon.spirit, and Amazon.spirit always deliver on time. There's no attempted delivery over here with Amazon.spirit. They deliver on time. So there's a knock at the door. The next morning, there are my trainers. I open it up and I look in there and I go, oh, pair of black Adidas, size 11. Bit of a problem there because I like white, I like Nike, and I'm a size 8. So now I'm faced with a dilemma because I've ordered those and sure enough, they've manifested. Yeah, but I wanted, yes, but that's not what you ordered. Right, so now I'm in that dilemma space now. Do I admit that I feel a little bit foolish because I've not read the small print and I've not sent it out in the right way? send them back and say, please, Spirit, give me that more specific. Size 8, white, Nike. Or, and a lot of people do this, I recognize my mistake. I take those trainers and I throw them in the back of the wardrobe to serve as a lesson to me of what not to do in the future. But I'm also that price down because I've accepted that delivery. So every time I go back into my wardrobe, I remind myself of the mistake I made. No, I choose to go, I'm going to take that on board. Yes, I'm embarrassed because in my own eyes, I've made a mistake. So I go back to Spirit and I say, actually, sorry about that. I'm not accepting this order. I need to be a little bit more specific. So can you send me a pair of size 8 Nike trainers and this particular brand? And sure enough, Spirit will deliver that. If you get into the habit of double ordering, you'll end up paying a price that you don't necessarily need to have a price. So imagine that up at Amazon.Spirit with you, if you're sending out mixed messages to people, there is this abundance that is there for you to tap into. That is your birthright. If it's positive, it is there for you on the shelf somewhere at Amazon.Spirit. But if you start sending out mixed messages, this is what happens. There is your server up there that's going along the aisles looking for something that you've spoken about. So you put out there, I want a new car, but that's as far as it's gone. So you'll look there and they'll go, right. So what I picked out of that sentence and that manifestation statement is that they want a car. Right. I'll send them a handbrake for a 1974 Cortina. I'll also send them an almanac on how to maintain your car and a bucket and sponges. Because you've mentioned car and that's what's gone out there. Oh, they want a car. But they haven't said what part of the car that they want, why they would want a car. So you get a knock on the door and you get a carrier bag full of odds and ends and stuff. And people look in there and go, oh, no. Well, that's no good for me. No, but that's what you ordered. Because what they've done in a sense is gone along the shelf that's marked car and gone, here, I'll sort that like that. And you've gone, no, but no, it's not what I want. There's been, right. So be more specific.
All I can think about is my clients that say, I want to manifest a partner. I want to manifest a man.
Wow. Right. I'll let you speak on that on your thing in a minute, but I've just got to jump in there with it. Sorry, this is my ADHD brain jumping in there. Right. It terrifies me. I tell people straight away that when I'm working, I don't do love readings because it's just not in my wheelhouse. It's just not me. But when they say, I want a partner, right, Spirit are listening up there and they will deliver you a partner. Oh, absolutely, 100%. And then when they get delivered in their parcel and you unwrap that package, there might be the wrong religion, there might be the wrong size, they might have the wrong like inspirational outlook, they might even be from the wrong color or from the wrong tribe. You vibe with your tribe. This is the whole idea of what we're talking about. So I say to people, right, before you order a partner, have a look through your back catalogue. What do you tend to on a normal day vibe with? We're talking about this vibe with a tribe. If you've made mistakes and and we've all done it, every single one of us, where we've had a partner which is ended acrimoniously, there starts to become a pattern because you will attract. And most ladies, and I'm not being disrespectful, and most ladies that I've dealt with are fixers. Right, they want to fix up. So I say, right, do you want an equal partner or do you want a project? Well, what do you mean by that? Well, do you want somebody there that you can mold into your way of thinking, or do you tend to attract the bad boy? Do you tend to attract the idiot that will get what he gets from you and then clear off and do that? And the majority of them have said, oh, yes, there's this. Right, recognize the patterns early on, because Spirit, the universe, will deliver what you ask for. But if you're specific and say, right, I want to manifest somebody that's 6'4", I'm just thinking of Foxy here with his 6'4" and 6'11". If you want somebody that is built like that and there's got these certain attributes to them and they've got certain processes, there may be a delay while the circumstances around you are sort of manifested and manufactured into that place. But if you look through your own back catalogue, you will find that there's patterns of people that you tend to attract. And
Yeah.
this is where it gets difficult, because if you look at people that have had abuse and they've been put down, they tend to go back into that that environment again, into that pool, because that is what they know, what they've always known. So I talk about people that get comfortable in discomfort, because that is what they know. I spoke with a lady yesterday and it was just incredible, the amount of personal power around her. And I just looked at it. I just had this image flashing through for me. I said, "You've had a really bad relationship breakup, haven't you?" And she went, "Because the eyes are the window to the soul, so they tell you lots of things." And I said, "The picture I've got in my mind is, imagine having a caged bird, right? That caged bird has got that environment to thrive in, because they've been, the word apparently is subjugated. They've been put down, they've been compressed, they've been held back, they've been marginalized, whatever it is, bullied, made to feel less than what they're actually worth. And they've got used to that environment. So they make allowances for being in that environment." And I said, and then all of a sudden, and this is what has put you in this space of upheaval or being lost, is the fact that now you've just had your cage door opened, and outside there is this massive space that you can now go out into, manifest the life that you want, but you don't know how to deal with it because it's never been an option for you. So the chances are that you will stay in that cage even if the door's open, because there's no restrictions anymore. And eventually there'll be another little birdie that will fly in that cage, the door will shut, and you will be in that manufactured environment again. So this is all about, we're talking about manifestation, and I'm going totally off on a tangent here, but this is how they show me with love readings, that you've manifested that because that's what you're used to. So there's a lot of time, and I do this so many times with people, that I manifest my inner Rick male, that I'm going like this to all this energy when it's thrown at me, and going, no, it's not acceptable anymore. I'm okay to want better than what I'm currently experiencing, but everything's got a price. I'll either pay that price, and I'm talking emotionally and energetically, or I won't. And if I won't, then I've got to accept, command word, accept that my life will stay as it is. So I've got to be content that I'm okay with my life as it is. And everybody I've ever put this to goes, "But I want change." Well, if you want change, you've got to do something different. If what you're doing is not working for you, change what you're doing. So even sometimes in life, it's just a little tiny tweak. And it's about perception. So looking at, so if I put this tissue box there in front of me, I can see all of the picture on it. I can see what's going on around me. Right? If I put that over there off camera and I'm not looking at it, there's still a tissue box there, but I can't see that facet of it because I'm not looking at it. If I start to bring it in here into camera shot, I'm looking at it as in a slightly different way. I can see a part of it, but I can't see all of it because I'm not facing in that right direction. However, if I turn my head towards it, I can now see that what I could see with where it's right in there. So sometimes in life, to bring in that manifestation of the life that you want, it's just a matter of degrees, of just slightly shifting your perception. Right, I get that now. There'll be a sign of synchronicity to then generate that thought where we can put into that place, right, I want to manifest that. And then you start to walk along that path, assess what you're putting into it, have a think what the impact will be in your very real term life, and then make adjustments. It's just like a ratchet that, you know, we go to degrees. If we're putting pressure on a car tire, it's torquing it up to that right pressure. Too much is like, not enough, it's too loose. So it's bedding things in as you go along. But again, this thing for me this weekend has just been about releasing guilt, about wanting a better life, because it is not a problem. Anyway, I've dominated too much, Annabelle. Sorry, I jumped in. ADHD.
No, Rick, this is just us chatting over tea. So I totally agree. Like, especially it's so funny because when you were saying, women ordering the wrong size man, the wrong. So I have a cousin who did not have the best family life. And so she really wanted to have her own family, and she manifested that with a guy who was less than great, let's put it that way, and had to go to camp for a little while, the kind of camp that you used to work in, Rick. So when he got out of the clink, um, they fell in again. And we were like, well, what is she doing? Like, she just wanted to have a family. And my Uncle Kenny said, nobody falls in love faster than a guy who needs a place to live. So, while she was manifesting, this is how we have to be careful about when we're trying to manifest abundance or manifest different things in our life. Someone else is manifesting something. And if we're not very careful and specific, about what we're ordering from spirit.com or amazon.spirit. I love that. I love amazon.spirit. If we're not careful about what we're asking, we could wind up with some crazy stuff on our plate. You may be trying to manifest a relationship or a man in your life, and you get one who is, not there for the same reason. So we do have to be careful about that. And as far as Prima had this great comment that she's practicing detachment from material possessions and move away from attachment to people. I think that can be very healthy. There's a certain a certain quality. I just want to say quality to people that keep amassing things. I love what's her name, Marie Kondo, the lady who cleans out houses, and she's like, "Does it spark joy when you hold it?" Sometimes people are neglecting their spiritual side, neglecting their internal, and so they start to get amass things on the outside. And Amazon, the real Amazon has made that so easy because you can just say, here, send this to me, and it's here. I ordered a book the other day, and the book is here today. It's so much easier. And uh, can we get spirit to function like that? Absolutely. There's a whole section in the book, The Secret. There's a guy who talks about manifesting parking spots. And like when I first saw it, I was like, what is he talking about? That he literally manifests parking spots when he goes into the city. He'll just imagine that he's going to get a parking spot. And that's a fun little trick that everybody can try. It doesn't have to be a parking spot, but something that you have to find on the reg. Like if you were a mushroom hunter, it could be mushrooms. But anything that you need to find on the reg for yourself, try to manifest it. Now, you can't like 3 seconds before you pull in front of the building in a crowded city. I need a parking spot right now. You have to be thinking about that and expecting it. So, the rules for the book, The Secret, which I think is a really good, concise, digestible version of how to manifest. What you have to do is be positive. You have to, let me just pull up my notes. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me. Do-do-do-do. So, we have to be positive thinking about it, visualize it. So, positive thinking, visualize, have a level of gratitude, a foundation of gratitude for the things that you do get, and taking inspired action. This is kind of the key to it. So if we, when I was looking for a house with Craig, did I sit at home and wait for my brother-in-law to call me and say, "Hey, I saw a house that's for sale by owner"? No, I didn't. I was actively looking for houses the whole time. I was on all the apps. I had alerts set up. I was doing that. I was driving around. I was looking in different neighborhoods. You really have to continue to take those inspired actions. But this house was literally, with the exception of not having a detached garage and a pool, was exactly what we had wanted. It really was exactly what we wanted. And the family had had the house on the market the year before. Nobody made the offer that they wanted, so they relisted it a year later, which was just in time for us. So, these things can happen, but you do have to be positive, visualize it, and have some gratitude. So, and do the inspired action. So, if you are going to keep a journal, I would say those 4 points are very important to put in your journal. So, say you want to, um, let's just, for our purposes, say you want to manifest more clients. Okay, you want to manifest more clients, you want to help more people. So, what we would do in the journal, positive thinking. I am extremely gifted at helping people through troubled times in their life or troubled things in their relationships or helping them find their spiritual footing. These I am kind of statements, visualization. I would like, I want to have 5 more clients this week that all need my help. I want to meet 5 people that will become clients, that need my help. Gratitude. I am grateful for all of the clients that I have. Like that's something that I do every single day. At the end of the day, I always say I'm so grateful for all the people that come to me. I know that what I am giving to people is important. But I also understand that we're in a very poor economy right now. This is not something that people can, spend freely on as they would have at one point. Again, it's one of the reasons why I love having the social media platforms that I do, because I can help people. I can have people, get a quick and fast and dirty reading. I'm just pulling over to see more of the comments. I'm off the comments right now. So, oh, there you go. I didn't even mean to do that. So there you go. So I think I lost my train of thought when I came back over. So I think if we extend ourselves to others, that is a level of abundance. We're demonstrating abundance. So not only are we getting, but we're also giving. I think that that's an important component of it. Writing down all of the success. Oh, I know what I was saying. That I'm grateful for my clients every single day. Every client that I see, I'm like, thank you, more please. That's something that I say all the time to the universe. Thank you, more please. Anytime it gives me something that's great, I really do. I extend that gratitude, and it doesn't. You don't have to sit there and like worship the ground for like 10 minutes. This can be just a quick thought. We're so used to, in this modern world, like going so fast like this, and it's so easy for us to get caught in the negativity loop, especially like if we're watching the news, if we're seeing all the drama that's going on in the world. It's really easy to get stuck in a negativity loop. So, having those points and moments where you say, I am really grateful. This is something, this is the echo chamber that's going to be in my head. I am grateful for every single client I have. I am grateful that I, have all of these platforms that I can extend myself to. I'm grateful that I have clients around the world. I'm grateful that I have new friends that, are like-minded psychics, that we all work together. We're all a little bit different, but we're like-minded. Our goal is to help people and get them through today or the next hour or the next week of their life, or maybe this lifetime. Help them get through this lifetime. I'm grateful that that happens. And you can even go further and say, I'm grateful that the universe has put me in this position that I can offer this kind of help to people. After my reading yesterday, it was after my remote view yesterday. It's a little hard to be grateful today, but I'm trying. But having that level of gratitude really does open up. It's not so much that we're filling our coffers and being super greedy with everything. And oh, here we've got Chaley, however, someone who desires more and more and more without ever being satisfied is greedy. And I agree. But if we're giving it back, if we're appreciating it, if because like here's the thing, like, Tom Cruise, multi-millionaire, like, is he going to lose his ambition? I think there's healthy ambition, and then there's, just bald-faced greed. Someone who's ambitious and is working very hard for all the things that they have, for all the extra that they have. I think that is manifestation in motion. I think we're seeing it, and that should be an inspiration to all of us. We shouldn't be jealous. We shouldn't be, put out because they're doing so much better than we ever could. We should look to it as inspiration. Now, for whatever it's worth. I know we talk about Hollywood people and how, there's maybe something amiss there, but for the most part, they are masters. That's where this whole book, The Secret, came out. Like, everyone was doing this secret technique, and Hollywood, Jennifer Aniston was a big advocate of it. Oprah was a big advocate of it. I mean, she, like her or love her, yeah, like her or hate her, Oprah has manifested quite the amazing life out of nothing. And they say all the time, people, God, he created that out of sheer will. He created a life out of sheer will. True. The chariot card, that's the card of manifestation in tarot. We get to manifestation by sheer will. And I love that card because the chariot and the rider waite, it's one of the things I always look at when I get a new deck. The chariot and the rider waite has no reins on the two sphinxes in front of him. He is moving those sphinxes. He is moving through everything by sheer will. He is manifesting his future. He expects it. He belongs there. He is looking into the future. And I think that we all have this ability. We all have the ability to craft our own future and make things. I always tell my clients there's very few things that are immovably fated in our lives. There may be a relationship that you have to have in this lifetime. There may be a disease or a circumstance that you have to have in this lifetime, to teach you some kind of lesson. But it's not your whole life. That it's not, Zeus is not up there. Kraft is saying, oh, well, this is what Anna's going to do today. This is what Rick's going to do today. There's nothing like that. We still have so much free will. The gods have allowed us to do that. Spirit has allowed us to do that so that we can make our mistakes and learn our lessons and become part of the universal one. So, they want us to practice. These lifetimes are practice. They want us to get better at it so that we can become guides and angels and part of the collective, the universal collective at some point. So I went a little far afield there, didn't I?
That's what we do, though, isn't it? That's the flexibility of what we do. And I'm just noticing Gemma's comment there about we all have free will to choose to do the good things or not. And I put a comment on there that you have to believe to achieve. And I mean,
Yeah.
my the first ever message that I got through for myself from Spirit, because I rarely, unless it's like this morning, which is another thing entirely, rarely get messages for myself. I'll get little snippets of stuff, but the first proper message I got was always practice gratitude. So that is what I do every single day. Now, sometimes because I'm a human being that it can be quite irritable in myself as an everyday person, I get frustrated because I'm either not understanding the message or it's not happening in my right time frame. But that is 3D thinking, and this is what I'm slowly starting to learn. So a lot of my stuff, if you see this, I'm a bit of a clown in the sense of I like to play on words and look at people's energy, because words are amazing. Somebody said to me the other day, always be immaculate with your words. Well, I'm not always immaculate with my words. However, I do know that words have deep resonance as they send out a particular frequency. So I start to look at what I'm saying. So, for instance, a lot of the work over the weekend was people saying, well, will I, or can I, could I? Why not change it round and just go, I will, I can. It's changing the resonance, and it's changing the energy around that. So I often look at people, so their sentence structure often gives a clue as to what's actually going on with them. And what I tend to spend a lot of time doing is getting people to link the words with the action. So I sat with such a beautiful energy yesterday. She was just absolutely glowing. You could tell that she was everything that she could potentially be, but what she was bringing across energetically was not what was going on behind the scenes. And all I said to her is, you know, you're getting these sort of tense feelings around your shoulders. She said, how did you know? I said, because I'm working behind the meat suit. I'm working with your energy. I said, you're an angel. And she went, oh, thank you. I went, not in the sense of saying, oh, I said, you are a beautiful human being, but you've got yourself tethered down to this life that is on behest and on behalf of other people. I says, and all I'm going to say to you is just like this. And I got her to expand. I says, because what I'm seeing here in my little mind's eye, in my little storyline here, is an angel that just needs to spread her wings. And I physically watched that lady's wings start to come out. And she went, you've just done an amazing thing. And I went, I haven't. You have. All I was the jailer that stuck the key in the lock, which is what I do, because that is me. 12 years as a prison officer, I've become very proficient at sticking keys in locks. That is one thing I can definitely say to you, that if I went along a row of cells, I would beat every single one of you that's watching this to get those doors open. And I can say that with confidence because that is what I do. When it comes to the spiritual side of things, now that's a different kettle of fish, because I was saying again a lot over the weekend, and I'm referencing the weekend because that's the most recent thing, that imagine being given the best, most up-to-date iPhone that you know it can do everything that it says it can do. And then they hand it to somebody like me, who is like a monkey banging a drum most times with tech, and goes, right, sort it out. I learn everything in retrospect, but the work that I do comes through me. So when spirit are working with you and you're manifesting that life, they've already got faith in you. They already know, because they're vibrating at a higher frequency than what we are. They're kind of like waiting for you to catch up. So when you put out your wishes, your intents, your I don't know the best way of putting it, but what you want, your order, your list, your manifestations and things like that, they're already past that. They're just waiting for you to catch up. And like this morning, I have had a huge awakening, a huge download before I came on here, which is kind of like knocked me all over the place. But some of the realizations now, when I've just changed what I put out there, it's been there all along, right? But I'm only just learning that why I went through things, why that environment was manifested by me, because I'd agreed that that was the path that I needed to work along. It's only now that I'm coming into I'm 52 in a couple of weeks' time, that I'm now starting to realize in retrospect why I've done what I've done. Good, bad, and indifferent. So my thought processes are splitting this down. And if you've watched my viewpoint, you know I can be controversial at times, but I am going to sort of tailor that. But start looking at your experiences with 3 possible outcomes. Everything, what you get yourself involved in, what you bring into being, what you experience, what you worry about, right? Because if you worry and you feel guilty and you feel angry, you manifest more of that to look at, because you've decided that that's okay. Sometimes there aren't an answer to it. So I'm a thought strategist, because my mind is on the go all of the time. That's who's running the show most of the time, the split personality part of me. You've got 3 things to look at with your life. Is it joyful? because all of us therapists, all of us, whether we're real, fake, putting out whatever it is that people think about us, we're all better feeling sellers, right? We want, even the ones that are out there for their ego, want to feel better in some way or another, whether it's you as a person that's delivering it or whether you're delivering it for the client's benefit, want them to feel better. The client, when they come to you, they want an answer to something where they feel better. So all of that is worth recording. Where that goes into when we record it, so the thought is manifested in the conscious mind. The conscious mind does all of the drumming up of these wonderful ideas and scenarios. Your subconscious mind, which is the imagination, is the storage vault for all of this. And it accepts every piece of information as fact, right? Without reference. It just goes, I'm just, it's like skipping along. It's happy. Just takes input upon input upon input. For me, and this is my personal opinion, my mind is essentially lazy, that if it comes up to an experience that's similar, I'll go into the library vault in the imagination and go, have I ever experienced this before? And it will show me exactly what I've recorded. So if my memory of a butterfly is traumatic, every time I come near a butterfly, I'm going to go into whatever experience I've had with a butterfly prior and press play. So I experience that fear response. That's not a better feeling, but that's like putting a part of your computer into your mind that's a fear response. So I look at now, I'm governing what is going into my subconscious mind. So this is where I split it down. Have I got any better feelings from that response to whatever's going on around me? Right. Oh, that's a nice feeling. That's a good memory. I'm going to put that into the subconscious mind and I'm going to mark it for the next time I'm feeling a little bit flat, that I'm going to press play on that one because it gives me upliftment. Second thing that's going to go into that vault is any experience that teach me a lesson, that's taught me to do something, how I can respond, maybe how I can respond better. So if you've had a negative experience, what has it taught you? What is it given you in that sense? Has it given you a better feeling? Well, we've already recorded that. Has it given me anything that I can learn from that experience? Well, that's all worth recording. So that goes into the subconscious as we pick up our life's experiences. Did I benefit from it in any way whatsoever? Sometimes we have to split it down into that infinite detail of going, right, well, I suppose in the end, yeah, in a roundabout way, I got a bit of knowledge, or there is a better feeling because I can have a bit of a laugh at myself in retrospect, but it's all worth recording. Then we come down to what's left. And that is where I design, when I go on stage with people, of designing the effort bucket, because the effort bucket is there and we can split the thought down and say, right, all of these things that you're worrying about, can you do anything productive with it? If the answer's no, then it's still an energy. It's still present. And this is why I'm so obsessed with candy floss at the moment. This is my latest being on the rant thing, because I needed something tangible where I could say, this is about your thoughts and how you're manifesting your thoughts. Right. We get like bogged down with this, right? Behind it is what we want to do, what we want to be, what we want to experience. But we get bogged down by thoughts and worries and anxieties, the state of the world, the economy, blah, 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 who's doing what, and there's all of this lot, right? But your true essence is behind that. So I squirt a load of water at it, because if you think about candy floss, it's a sticky substance, but if you put water on it, it reduces it down to absolutely nothing. So I wash my face. I'm washing my face. I'm removing it. And it goes into the effort bucket, because I can't influence it. I can't change it. If I could, I would devise a strategy from what I've already done, and I would manifest the life that I'm actually looking for. So my effort bucket is constantly overflowing, because I'm starting to realize, with a little bit of maturity in inverted commas, that there's certain things in my life that I'm destined to deal with and certain things that I can't affect. So it goes into the fuck it bucket and we move on and we move past it. It's not about understanding everything. It's not about agreeing with it, because we have been through difficult traumas and they're very real in our real life. But how long are we going to let that continue to be part of our life? I see a little point in going back over something and reigniting the fire. I was reminded this morning, it's like, for me, I'm not a great one belief wise, and this is a personal experience. You all must have your own thoughts on this, but basic counseling is not the greatest tool that's available out there to help you with your mindset, because it's like going into all of your corrupted files, opening them up, generating the feeling and the experience that you had at the time of the trauma, and then going, right, we'll just jiggle it about a little bit and put it back in a different order, and then putting the file back and closing it and putting it back in. It's not got rid of it. It might have addressed what's been manufactured at that particular time, but the corrupt file is still in there. So what I look at doing is going, right, the things that have happened to me have been very real. The effects have been very real. But do I want to relive that experience over and over again to look from a different perspective? Absolutely not, because it's tiring. I'm 52 years of age, nearly 52 years of age. If there was an answer to that, I would have found it, because I'm not stupid. But I haven't found it. So the only logical conclusion for me is to accept that there is no answer. There's no right or wrong in it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I put that in the ethic bucket visually in my mind, because I'm giving myself permission to walk away and manifest and bring in the abundance that I want, because all of the people that have brought this trauma towards me have taught me a lesson. Right. And even if that lesson is, and this is been the hardest, painful one that I've learned through the deep traumas that I've experienced, even if the only thing that they've ever taught me is that I don't want to be anything like them going forward, then I've learned something. But
Yeah.
I've spent many years going over why have I had to go through this? Well, because I agreed to go through it. When I manifested my blueprint before I even got here, it was designed for me to openly acknowledge, as the caveman that I thought I was, to now finally learn that since a very young age, I've been sensitive. So we'll put people there that have got oppressive, difficult energies around me. I've played a role, and the prison officer was no doubt in my mind that was part of that process. Was I'm the authoritarian. I am the person there that is going to stand by you and lead you and all of this sort of thing. And we're going to do it in the gruff caveman way, and we are going to do it in the manly masculine way. And realistically, I am anything but. I am super sensitive. I am, and we was talking in the comments there with Debs, I am weird, right? I am, and I acknowledge that. I acknowledge my weirdness, because I'm wired differently to everybody else. I think different. I will, and my price to pay for all of this is that I am argumentative. I cause trouble, but it's never done from a place of anything other than an open heart, because I want to provoke clients. I want them to walk into that and go, right, confront me if you like, because I'm a sounding board. I'm there as the soldier. I'm there to help you manifest the life that you want. But if you want normal, oh my God, have you picked the wrong person? I am not normal. I am sensitive. And do you know why I can say that? Is because I've earned that right. I have faced up to my darkness. I have all of the answers.
I think the best people are colored outside the lines, though. Like, if you're not thinking beyond the box, you're kind of at a loss. I just want to address two things here. So Saved by Grace, I think, is a new person. So they're asking, what is the tribe? So um, I am of the belief that the collective, if we work together, will raise vibrations, raise the ability to see things. That's why I like to do controlled remote viewing with a group, because I do feel we raise the abilities, collectively we raise our abilities together. So what Rick and I are trying to do, Saved by Grace, this Monday morning kickoff, we have a 6-week program right now where we're just going through different things that you can do spiritually for yourself. And we're trying to kick off the week for everybody. So everybody's in the tribe. It's anybody that wants to come and hang out with us and grow and flex spiritually can be in the tribe. So if you're in the comments, you're in the tribe. If you're watching, you're in the tribe. So welcome. We're glad to both have you. If you'd like, you can subscribe to Rick and I. Both of our contacts are in. I think you're watching on my channel. You can subscribe to Rick too. He's got a great program on his. We do a lot of cool stuff. And we also have a show on Thursday that we do with some other psychics and an amazing host, Rob Ackenpour, who's the straight man for all of us. He is not a psychic. He's not one of us, but he's getting better. That's the Psychic News Universe. That's on Thursday. So welcome. We're glad to have you. Everybody give Saved by Grace a warm welcome. And here, this was a great question. This is actually manifestation in action. So Ms. Libra says she was out for a little bit and she said she wants her job to be extended or a new working from home job. Can I just ask every day for that? I do practice gratitude and but want to make sure that I'm asking correctly. So I'm going to give the 4 point steps here. So we have positive thinking. So if this is trying to manifest the extended job working from home, thinking, yes, this is possible. It is, you don't have to think probable, but it's possible. This is a possibility. When we start to think in terms of possibility in spiritual terms, then we open up different avenues. At any given time, you can go down 10 different roads. Your free will kick in. Thinking about the possibilities and actually visualizing them. Step 2, we're going to visualize them. If I were you, I would write this down every day. I would get a little journal. I know not everybody likes journaling, but trust me, you'll like it after a while. Positive thinking. This is going to be a possibility. They are going to extend my working from home, or I'm going to obtain a working from home job. And that's one thing, just, as a caveat here, when we're trying to bring an opportunity, whether it's a professional opportunity or a relationship opportunity to us, we can't expect to just kind of think about it one day and like it's going to show up tomorrow. Like it just doesn't work that way sometimes. Sometimes it'll take a few weeks to get that other person or that other opportunity in play for you. Dr. Joe Dispenza says when in his meditation, uh, opening up to new opportunities, he said, at the end, he says, tell the universe to bring this opportunity to you in a way that's right for you. So, we always have the story of the monkey's paw. If you guys don't know the story, the monkey's paw, it's a short story. They made it into a short film. Family has a guest come. They were just in India, and he comes back with a monkey's paw. And he says, yeah, it'll grant wishes. You hold it and you make your wish. And so the father holds it and wishes for $200, I think. And the next day, their son is unalived at work. He fell into the machinery at the factory, and the factory owners come to tell them that and hands him $200. So there's more to the story, but that is like a manifestation where we didn't ask for everything that we should have. Should have been a little bit more planning there. So you can write down, this is the circumstance that I want, and wait for that circumstance to come to fruition. Wait for the other part of the energetic field to get into play for you. So it may take 6 months to manifest a new position. It may take 3 months for the leaders at your current work to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, we've been working from home for X amount of time. Why not? We're going to continue with it. So it may just take some time for that to happen. The visualization is really key. And this, I'm going to say, every day visualize extending working from home. Every day that you sit down, do the best job you can and say, tomorrow it's going to be like this. I'm going to be working from home again. Gratitude. I've been working from home. I've been working in this circumstance for X amount of time, and I'm so grateful. And catalog. some of the things that that has enabled you to do. I know my last corporate situation that I was in, it not only enabled me to move up here to start my life with Greg, but it took care of my kids when I was a single mom. Also, they'd shifted me from one position to another because it was just more conducive to the life that I had when I was still single and raising the kids on my own. So, I was grateful for all of those things, but taking inspired action. So, this specifically for Miss Libra, taking the inspired action. We're doing all the things. We're doing the first three things. Your inspired action is I'm going to do the best job that I can with what I have. So, that would be maybe 3 weeks of successful work, kind of maybe taking on additional work from home, doing a few little things and cataloging that, and then maybe at the end of it all sending to your supervisor and HR, I respectfully request that I can continue to work in this capacity. um, these are the things that I've accomplished over a certain amount of time. If we're doing the manifestation on one part, if we're doing the energetic work on one part, we still have to do the terrestrial work. What I tell people all day long, you can ish in one hand and wish in the other, and that's all you're going to get. Wishing is not manifesting. Wishing, and I say, like, little kids, they like pray, say they pray to God to like get a dog or something like that. I get it, but sometimes prayer is just wishing. And we really want to add of um some capacity of action that we take in the terrestrial world. You need to do that. So if you want to find a partner and you never leave your house, the talking head on the news is not going to call you up and ask you out. Johnny Depp is not going to call you up and ask you out. If you're just, I know, right? If you're just sitting there wishing for something to happen, I wish my finances were better. And that is something that you can try. If you're manifesting, you shouldn't be able to say I wish for a new job. You should be able to say I am creating a new job in my future. There's a new job that is being created for me right now. There's a circumstance that is developing that I will be able to jump into in the next 6 weeks. So, that I don't, am I describing the difference between wishing and manifesting well, Rick? Is it making sense? Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted. How'd you get muted?
The reason I was muted was because the dogs were barking and I didn't want everybody to hear the dogs barking. Sorry, I just forgot to
Oh,
take it off. When I looked at the thing, the only thing that I would add to what you said, because I agree with all of it, is this is my hobby. I love words. And I'm looking at this and I'm looking at that literal comment on there, and I've read it and I've read it and I've reread it. And I got to that bit there that stuck in my eyes that say, can I just ask? They're the four that I want to identify, right?
yeah.
I want to remove the word just, which give us, can I ask? And then I want to move the I and put that in front of the can, and then put I can ask, because
Yes.
it totally changes the resonance and the frequency around that statement. You've also took personal responsibility for it, of saying that is what I want. The other thing that I would just look at with that sentence in itself is that I want my job to be extended, or right. So again, remember what I spoke about earlier when you were ordering from
Specific.
Amazon.spirit, is which do you want most of? Because you may well end up with too much opportunity, which will then lead to overwhelm, and then you will withdraw while you consider, and then you put yourself back a couple of weeks. It's not like a negative thing, but because there's that air of confusion around it. So I would be being more specific with the first part of that sentence. You either want your job to be extended, or you would like the new job working from home, or a third option there is you want a combination of both, but be more specific. And then just go to that I can ask every day. And it depends on how many of your life's hours that you're willing to put into that, but structure what you want from it. And so that's all I'm going to add to that, because I just think there is no right or wrong way of doing it. It's what works for you at the end of the day. But it's just having that belief in the power of the universe, because if they ask you, say, if you keep asking for the wrong things, you'll get more of it. And this is why I mentioned about the relationship thing. We can generally put out that we'd like more of something, and you will get more of something, because they just want to please you as well. So just be mindful of what you wish for. There's quite a likelihood that you will get it, but it might come in the wrong color or the wrong brand. And this is why I tell that story many, many times, because I'm one of my own worst critics. So I'm not sitting here from a vantage point of going, darling, I've got everything perfect. I'm talking about things that I constantly trip over and have to remind myself. And the other thing I would add to it is, look at when somebody comes to you for advice. Look at a bit of reverse psychology. What would you say to somebody if they came up to you and said certain things? Well, majority of people that I've met are full of good advice, but what they're not so good at is taking their own advice. And this is what I'm aware of, the irony of sat here saying this. I'm an advocate of putting things very clear and simple, and then when it comes to doing things for myself, I complicate it. So it's just an observation. It's a simple thing for you, Sam, that there are things out there that you can do to affect that, but don't ask whether you can ask or not. Just be mindful that if you send a mixed message out, you're going to get mixed results. So my wife is a brilliant advocate of pointing out what I pointed out to other people. What would you say to somebody if they came to you with that particular query? And I'll go, and it's often an eyebrow raise, because my wife communicates with eyebrow raises and eye rolls, that if she was stood outside here listening at this moment in time, we would hear her eyes rolling. But she's brilliant. But she's brilliant at doing that, because that is what I've manifested. Is I want somebody that simplifies my complicated thoughts. So that gives me the freedom to sit here and look at people's. I'm not sat here in judgment. Please never think that. I'm just looking at how we could simplify that and just make that tweak. So you do what you need to do. It's absolutely. It is simple. It's us as human beings that complicate things. And if we can get out of the habit of complicating things, our life will go much easier. If we can simplify the process down to its bare bones, then we will manifest that much quicker. But always consider this as well, right and divine timing. Sometimes the things that we're actually looking for aren't quite there, because there's other parts that we can't influence and alter that need to get to their logical conclusion, so that we're in a place where we bring this in. So it's not that you're being ignored by the universe, your gods, your guides, or whatever. It's just that sometimes that product's not always available. So you might get a substitute experience that may well take you down a slightly different road. But ultimately, my very simplified process of years ago, I couldn't get my head around the bearded God in the sky type of thing. I just like it just didn't sit with me. You had it all at school of how it was put. I thought, okay, but in my head, I used to get this thing that we're on a path. We've got lines, and if that hadn't have happened, we wouldn't have had this. So in my mind, what I saw was that if you're content to go down that line there, you'll go down that line for as long as it's drawn. Well, then something will come along, whether it's a grief experience, whether it's a different experience, whether it's just something that, like for me, the major thing was leaving the prison service. And I didn't visualize that at all. I didn't plan for that. It was a set of circumstances. So what actually happened was I got banged off on the line that I was on quite abruptly, and went onto this new timeline and went, holy shit, I don't know how to cope with this, because all of this is brand new. So I did what I thought I could with all of the knowledge that I'd gained in that time. I went, shit, this is my new destination. I've got to adjust really, really quickly. And yet again, got another crack and went on to a different timeline. And I'm going there, right, I've learned twice now that what I put into place where I've tried to control the outcome and I've gone, I need to do, and the world's gone, nah, flow. Oh, but no, because right, okay, you have that thought because that's okay, because that's your free will of choice, right? You go down that road, see how far you get. So you go down the road with that blinkered attitude, that controlling, I've got to do this, that, bang, you'll get another one. And then eventually you'll go, right, thank you. So some of the traumas, and this is where I keep coming back to this thing about thanking the teachers, is because even through trauma, we learn things. Even through this, like, even the slow learners like me, because I tend to learn on the third experience rather than the first one, are going, right, eventually I get it. And like this morning's breakthrough was all about a couple of lessons. As I was saying, I keep harping back to my age, that I'm 52 in a few weeks' time, that this lesson has been in process since the age of 8 years old. So nearly 44 years it's took me to go to this point here this morning as I got out of bed to go, right, yeah. So that, what I've been fighting and structuring and putting in my way of thinking and owning that path that needs to conform around me, the realization is, no, I just need to step back and learn that that was necessary for my development. So I'm no longer fighting it. If I need to be in that space, I need to be in that space. But I'm flowing along that line. I will still have my quirks and my lack of patience and my grumpiness, because that's 3D me. That's what I printed. That's the character that I've printed to exist on this timeline. I'm not going to rub that out, because my thing is that I'm here to learn. I think like everybody is. But once you learn that you're here to learn, that's when you can start to make these revelations come true, and make them part of your manifestation and make them part of your abundance. Strange rabbit hole there I'm going down, but I'm going to stop before I go any further, because
No, that's okay. The one thing I do want to caution people about, and this is something that it can be a little bit of a sticky trap. Um, the poverty thinking. So poverty mindset, the mindset where, oh, well, I'm looking at someone else's relationship and, oh, I'll never have a relationship like that. I'll never find somebody like that. That is those creeping thoughts that you're journaling, your concrete thinking about what you really want. It's going to combat that. It's going to combat, I don't have enough, or I know when I was in my corporate job, there was a lot of I can't that I would say all the time. People would say, do you want to go to happy hour on Friday? I can't. I got to finish these emails. I can't. And the reality was I was finishing up the day with 50, 60 emails that were unanswered. And I knew I was going to come in on Monday with people angry. So why not go to happy hour with my friends and unplug and set myself up to actually replenish over the weekend? Whereas I would just sit there and wring my hands all weekend and go, I can't believe, like, I have so much I have to do. I've got laundry to do, and Monday I'm going to go in. It's going to be an absolute ish show. The poverty mindset is something that is very easy to slip into and kind of maintain if you are not doing the work, say in a journal or on a post-it or something like that. Keeping that brighter thought. I always say, find the yellow brick road. Find the better way out of it. And in my spiritual world, there's several yellow brick roads. One might be kind of bumpy, one might have a bunch of bricks gone, one might be like paint peeling and whatnot, but there might be one that's really great. You have to figure out which one that you're going to wind up on. With a poverty kind of mindset, well, I can, like, let's say you want a Mercedes. I don't know. I'm just making this up. You could either get a brand new Mercedes, or you can get a vintage Mercedes that's mint, or you can get a vintage Mercedes that needs to be fixed up. When you want to manifest, you really need to think in the terms of, ultimately what you want. I know that my husband is thinking in terms of, well, we're just working class. We're just working class. And true, we're working class, regular middle class people. But that doesn't mean that we can't live an abundant life. I had done this when I moved out to LA with my ex-husband. When we went car shopping, we had a choice between a Nissan Xterra, which I really loved. I thought it was a great car. And there was the Mercedes little SUV that was out in the late 90s. And ultimately, the Mercedes would have been a better choice. They were basically going to be the same car payment. But I said to him, I just don't feel like we're Mercedes people yet. Like, I just don't feel like we should be doing that. And it was that was poverty mindset for me. That was absolutely poverty mindset. I was thinking in terms of, like, what does it look like? Like, what should we be in? When I should have said, you know what, the car payment's $20 off. Like, let's do it. Let's get a car that has a better resale. I shouldn't, it was, a silly mistake. But for me, over the next year, 2024, for me, I wanted to connect with more people in my industry now. Formerly, when I was in corporate, I had a lot of connections. I utilized my LinkedIn. I had a lot of connections in my industry. In this one, I really kind of siloed myself for a while until I found people like Tarot Destiny and Rick and Deborah and Thor Sandalwood, until I found those people. And the wild thing is, Rick, how did I find you? I found you through Trevor Colt, who is a veteran and a well-regarded person in the United Kingdom. And then I met Paul and Mel, who are fitness and mental health coaches. And then I found you. So it was like a weird kind of Candyland path that I found you through. But nonetheless, we found each other, and we're all, and here we are on Monday morning, uplifting everybody else.
So I've just put out there, has anybody got any specific questions? Because we are coming up to the hour and 3/4 mark, and we did say that
we are.
when we was looking at the thing, and this is not about like needing to get off or anything like that, but what we've found, both of us, when we do our research on how sort of things are received, is that the audience tends to drop off after the hour point. So we were looking at clipping things there, because both of us have a tendency to have a weave around and dip into things, and it is, I'm speaking for both of us here, and I hope I'm right on the money with this, is that we both absolutely love and respect and admire all of the work that we do with everybody. But it's like with everything, it comes to a conclusion. But I'm sure we could both sit here and do things for the next few hours. The question that was put there, and I don't know, because I'm not very sure about doing links and things like that, because I'm doing mine off the StreamYard, is how can people find us? Well, there's Fortune Cookies, who's been established for a long, long while there, and who's got an army of her own fans. There's me that's up there waving my little flag as well on my channel. I'm on Facebook. You can contact me personally if you like. I'm not one of these that cultivates friends. So if you find me out there, by all means, send me a friend's request. My Rick Paul Spiritual Medium and Psychic, and also I forgot. I'm looking at it here and I've forgotten what it was. I'm so tired after the weekend. Urban Angels, Soul Guidance and Thought Therapy page. There are replays, and Annabelle will put out whatever channels that she needs to put. So I shall shut my mouth for a second and let Annabelle plug what she does.
So yeah, Miss Libra, you can any of the replays will be in mine and I think you're watching on YouTube. You can watch just go to his videos or go to his lives, and then you should see it. I believe it'll come up under the lives tab, so you can look there. On my site, I actually have a Vibe with the Tribe uh, uh, chapters. So you can go there and you can look at those as well. So, and also on Facebook, we're broadcasting to numerous Facebook platforms right now, or Facebook,
Facebook.
but Facebook pages and groups and our own private pages we're streaming to. So Stephanie Hardwick was one of your readings from Saturday.
I've
And
got
she's
to
on her
address that comment.
second.
I've got to, right. I don't know about you. You'd have to speak for yourself on this. I very rarely get emotionally invested in somebody else's reading. I go up to that point where I'm supporting them and I have the feelings, because I have this line drawn in my head that empathy is amazing, but it's quite an energetic strong pull with it. Sympathy is shit and syphilis in the dictionary. The word sits neatly in between the two words. So I sit somewhere in the middle. Now I cross my boundaries because it's rare as well that I remember specifics when I've done a lot of readings in a row. But this lady absolutely touched my heart. Like, absolutely touched my heart. It was, when I say to people about when you're doing readings and you're putting your heart out there into what you do, be very mindful that you've got your own shit together. Personally, because I think that if you don't, you end up with the shutter slightly open and stuff will leak out and other people's stuff will leak in. So I keep my shutters fairly well shut down. And you spoke earlier about how we met and that strange circle. So where I worked yesterday was 40 miles away from my home. And that lady, without betraying anything that we spoke about whatsoever, confidence-wise, sat with me, and she's from the same estate where I've been living for the last 22 years.
Oh.
We've never met. I spoke about and we talked about her dad, and her dad cleaned windows, and they used to come to me for a tea break 20 odd years ago. So the likelihood is that I've actually met her father in person. We spoke about where we're from. We're from Lincoln. So there was that dynamic there. We've recently lost somebody, that we've found somebody that's passed away. And all of the emotions, and it was just like a tidal wave. Now, I very rarely shed tears, but I struggle to hold my stuff together with that lady, because I will say this in front of an audience, she is absolutely amazing. And this is the wonderful thing about spirit when they come in for you, that lady came for a certain thing. I immediately said, as this earthbound guy, that I don't particularly guarantee connection to any particular spirit. So if she'd at that point said, well, sorry, I'm looking for something more specific, then she would have had to have gone wherever she needed to go. And I wouldn't have had an issue with that, because I work with honesty and integrity. I said to her that as well as connecting with spirit, she was also here for something else, which was the brand of whatever it is that I do was there. And she came out with this lovely comment that I won't forget in a hurry. She said, I just knew, even though that you was running late, that I had to come and sit with you, even though I wasn't quite sure what I was coming for. She said, but I knew that if I walked away from that table, then I would regret it. And that for me has sat there, and it's been part of this sort of wind down that I'm going through this morning, and it has had a major impact on me. So when we spoke about earlier about manifesting the life and whether it's greedy to want this, that, and the other, it's moments like that that help me realize just what I'm in this for. right? And it isn't about amassing the money. It isn't about the prestige. It is purely about things that are like that. And I'm feeling myself going again because, as I say, my shield is well down at the moment. But that lady, and mark my words, when she connects into what she's here for, she will realize what an impact that we generated yesterday. It's not about, oh, she was in the right place with me. She was in the right place with spirit, that I could be the conduit to do the work that we did yesterday. And my love and my respect and my, I'm just heartfelt feelings just go out to you, because you are an amazing lady. You are, and you're the same, Annabelle. That I feel beyond blessed that I've had this opportunity to bring in people that are like-minded with me, that they're on our weirdness train. Because, and when you, if you what I get this opportunity, and I'm asking this as a fan as well, if you get the opportunity to check in with our Psychic News Network on Thursday as we do it, check in. Right, you might not agree with everything that we do. You might not agree with our what we bring out with the tarot cards, but it's another vibrational frequency that's drawing groups together. It brings upliftment. We have a bit of silliness, normally from me. We have a bit of professionalism that's from Annabelle, which brings in the cards. We've got the wonderful TD there that's bringing in there, and another lady that's working now, that's her vibrations raising, and she's realizing now what she's coming into. Rob is amazing, right? Forget about levels and things that he's in, because he's interviewed some top stars, right? He's vibrating at this frequency, and he's gradually getting dragged over to our side of things.
My favorite thing was in the last one, we pulled a card and he was like, "Oh, I know what that means."
Yeah, and this is it. And this is what we're doing. This is what this vibe with the tribe, that when the people that was talking earlier on, right? We're not here to grandstand on religion or any particular politics or anybody's viewpoints telling you you're right, wrong. We're here to generate a higher frequency and a higher vibration. Whether you choose to take up on it or not, that is entirely up to you. It doesn't affect us. We're not cult leaders. We're not dictating dogma or anything like that. This is about you living the best life that you can live within your reality. And that's the last bit that I'm going to say on this, what that I'm going to leave you with personally, because I'm desperate for a cup of tea, I'll be honest, is that when you're manifesting, right, what we were saying there, don't be wishing, but also keep it within your reality as well. So it's all right me saying that in my personal opinion, I'd like to be Steve Jobs and have the millions and millions of pounds and the car and things like that. But at the end of it, how Steve Jobs went, he manifested everything that he wanted financially and everything, but he couldn't beat the clock. He passed away. But to be Steve Jobs, I would have had to have had the life and the experiences that he's had. Different country, different upbringing, different thought process, different religious beliefs. So if in my vibration I'd have wanted to be him, I'm setting myself up to falling short. Whereas in the life that I've experienced and the people that I've met, I can have my admiration of them, but I can't be a diluted version of somebody else. But what I can be is 100% version of me, flaws, faults, whatever else it is that I think about myself, but also being in a space of saying, I'm not feeling guilty about wanting better for myself, but keeping it within my reality, but also remaining open to change. Because this is the biggest lesson I'm learning recently, is not to be so stubborn, not to be so blinkered in my mindset. That we're bringing this back to tarot, that the fool at the start of the tarot journey is all about that childlike innocence, where before we've got tied down by the scars, the traumas of life, the adult way of thinking that everything's got to be in this sequence and this segment. The fool steps out on the journey with this happy-go-lucky outlook. that there is no problems. There is nothing to worry about, because again, we manifest problems, we manifest lessons because we've agreed to do that. So my closing thoughts, personally, my closing thoughts is be the fool for a while. Be that light-hearted person as you step out onto that path. Vibrate in whatever way that you want to do. Do it in your own unique version. If you want to sit there and wear dresses and put silly hats on and do silly voices like some people do, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't beat yourself up over the small stuff. And the thing that, say, with the guy that left me, so if anybody wants to know my true story, it can be found elsewhere, about seeing somebody that passed away in front of me. His message that has stuck with me forever is, don't sweat the small stuff, because it's only you that gets involved and gets affected by that. And on that, Annabelle, I'm just going to zip it on that and say thank you again for indulging me on it, because I just love this. I get so
I love this too. It actually is such a great kickoff for my week. You know, I love a motivational Monday, like where you like you go to the gym and then you do a whole bunch of stuff and you pay a whole bunch of bills and you clean the house and do laundry. I love that. But this doing this vibe with the tribe is helping me ease into the week instead of hitting the ground running and then being exhausted by Wednesday. So this is like really just, it gives me a moment to just pause and make sure that I'm starting out with the right kind of mindset. You know, Hutch is still listening there. They're doing their vlog stuff today. But you know, the mindset, Hutch had taught me when I did his 30-day optimum program, to journal and write down what you want your day to look like. But this helps me kind of write down what I want my week to look like, the important things that I need to bring to the top of my list. And, if that is, thinking in a more positive way. I've had a challenging couple of weeks. We had the puppy here, Raven got hurt. We, had the earthquake. Earthquake. I'm still freaked out by that. Seems to have calmed down though. It seems like we're not having any more aftershocks, so that's a good thing. I was never so nervous in California. It's just really freaking me out that we've had earthquakes here in New Jersey. But anyway, I digress. So I think starting out with a really good mindset for your week, I think is great. And it sets that fertile ground. It's spring. We should be planting things that we want to bring to fruition in the next couple of months. And that's not just in the physical ground, that's in our spiritual ground as well. So I think, what are we on now? This is because we were doing 6 weeks of this. And right now we are on week 4. Next week, we're going to be talking about healing and self-care. The last week is going to be embracing forgiveness. And then Rick and I are going to come up with a new curriculum for the next few weeks, because everybody seems to like this. So I have a feeling we're going to continue this. Agree, Rick? Not to put you on the spot.
Sorry, I've hit that point of just, it's unusual for me to be lost for words. There's a comment there. At the end of the reading with that wonderful lady.
Stephanie here.
Yeah, I was sat there, and it honestly, it's just knocked me for a loop, because I love what I do, so passionate, and I hope that comes across that I'm a genuine guy. I'm not always in touch with my emotions, so this is kind of floored me with what I've experienced this morning, which I don't. To be truthful, I will speak to you privately about it, Annabelle, but I don't want it to go like out at the moment, because I'm still processing it. But that has just put the lid on it. Yesterday, I was going away, made the connection with Stephanie's dad, and made a connection with his character, having previously said that I wasn't connecting in. I was actually connecting in with a lady's energy. So I kind of like left it and then said, unless it's, we built on the picture of what was coming through. And at the end, I said to her, he's just given me a banana and a single pint of milk, and just chucked it, drunk it really quickly. And she went, I'll have to think on that one. And there, my friends, is the evidence of what I was seeing. And I'm a grumpy, bald-headed, narky person the majority of the time during my earthbound life, but that is a special moment because I sat there, and that is validation, like I've been talking here all the way through this, that spirit are with you constantly. And when the moments matter that you're meant to understand, the timing comes in. So it was a simple thing. It was a banana and a pint of milk. But look what it actually meant to that person that's received it, because it's generated that memory link. And that for me is why I genuinely love doing what I do. And despite any of the knocks to the confidence and the people there that will bring in that negativity, because I've only got to mention 2 words to you, Annabelle. The Tarot Destroyer was on one of my lives the other day. So people like that, they're going to bring their energy to you. It's how you build up that resistance, pure spirit, and that they're non-judgmental, non-coercive. So I'm going to be honest, I've got nothing left, Annabelle. I've just...
No, that's okay. And I actually, Raven just came out, so I think she is ready to go outside. But I just did want to address one thing. So, saved by grace, Christ is Lord. Certainly. So, I didn't mean to do that. Certainly, we embrace everybody here. If you are, just a spiritual person, I come from a mixed religious background. My father's Jewish, my mother's Christian. We're open to everybody here. We're not talking about anything that's weird. This is just, good living. So I hope we will see you back here. I mean, I do. Rick does mediumship and readings, and I do tarot and remote viewing and mediumship. So, we hope that you're back here. This isn't, anything weird, and we just want people to live their best life, and we do honor. I like I said, I come from a Jewish and Christian background, so there is somebody up there. The God with the beard, though, for me, Rick, I gotta say, it looks like the Monty Python one.
Yeah.
Usually has a flappy mouth, and but yeah, so we're glad to have you here, and
Yeah, thank
hope to
you.
see you back again, saved by grace. So so guys, next week we're going to be, what did I say we're talking about? Let me next week is going to be healing and self-care, which is after your experience of healing and self-care this week. We will have a lot to say next week. So everybody, we're so glad that you jumped in with us. And oh wait, and Stephanie had some more. And she also, you would see a cherry blossom. Last week she bought a cherry blossom tree, and then she said, and then you said the answer is in your garden. And I said that to my sisters the night before, and she was, oh, putting his ashes at the roots of a tree. So there. So well done, Rick. I'm so glad Stephanie got some help from you. I am. It's We all need that, Wifey did a reading for me over the weekend. She did a little mediumship and connection for me, which was very interesting. We'll talk about that offline too. But so everybody, I hope that this got you off to a good start today. I hope this was your spiritual coffee or spiritual tea. But for now, Rick is going to go get tea, so we're going to say goodbye. And we'll all see you Thursday on Psychic News Universe. It is live. We do it live now because it needed to be a live show. But we'll all see you there. I'm going to be doing some production this week, so you get to see some production videos. Like I said, Raven is up and feeling better. So I will not be carrying a 60-pound dog in and out of the house. So, and Mercury and Leo said it. Have a great day, everybody. So we'll see you all later. Rick, stick around for a sec.